Good afternoon, Professor Cushing. Thank you for joining me today. So now California is in an unusual situation where it's both in a flood and drought state of emergency. It sounds really contradictory, so we're here now, so could you tell us what's happening?
Yes, California's precipitation patterns historically have been ones of boom and bust. So we do have patterns where we have lots of rain in several years and maybe several other years of very low precipitation. So our last two drought cycles occurred in the last decade, about 3 years apart. So this can explain why we have different areas that have different levels of water resources, and because of climate change, more severe weather events like droughts and atmospheric rivers will unfortunately become more common, and the efforts can be localized according to different places in California, either the Central Valley or the coast. So that accounts for why we could be in this kind of seemingly strange situation where you have droughts in some areas and flooding in others.
So can the constant level of heavy rain equate to full reservoirs in the state?
So we hope that all the great rain that we've had so far this season has put a dent in the drought conditions. So on Tuesday, the U.S. Drought Monitor just released some information that shows that less than half the state is now in a situation of severe drought. So that's really, really good news. But it took us many years. For the past 20 years, precipitation levels for the state overall have been decreasing. So it'll take another several years of pretty good water years to, get us out of our current water deficit.
Now, what is the potential for winter rain to replenish the groundwater supplies?
So the recent series of 6 atmospheric rivers has done a great job of helping replenish surface water supplies and also, to a limited extent, groundwater supplies. Many of our reservoirs in the local area are actually full or overfull, where we're really trying to think about better rainwater capture is with our groundwater supplies. Right now there's a number of percolation ponds and good drainage areas. They're probably pretty full. They're saturated with water already, so we need a little bit more time for things to dry out and for the water to kind of spread out and to sink into the ground before we get another event. And hopefully that will help us make even more progress towards increasing our groundwater supplies.
And could you also tell us, how does the drought conditions in our current infrastructure influence the Bay Area and the state's ability to utilize this rainfall?
So when you have a prolonged period of drought, it can influence the ground's ability to absorb water that's flowing over it. So if the ground is too dry, it can become like a hard pack where water will simply flow over as opposed to going into the ground. Also, over time, if we've drawn too much water from our aquifers, all that good sediment inside that has been kind of an underground sponge loses its ability to hold water. So if we do have a prolonged drought, it will actually decrease the ability of the land around us to effectively utilize rainwater from storms.
Okay. Professor Cushing, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, David.